It's none of that. But something you forgot. See, everybody's forgotten something. You left it out. Just missed it. See? And so I can bring this out, what you've forgotten, if I ask you, who are you? Well, you say, I'm Paul Jones, or whatever your name happens to be. I say, oh, no. Don't give me that stuff. Who are you, really? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you, really?
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We got a special one for you today. We've got Matt from the Movie Mayhem Podcast.
What up?
What's up, dude?
Hey, man. I'm just, figured I'd return the favor. You came on,
Yes.
did us the honor of coming in and being an illustrious guest on our show.
No,
so
you guys did me the honor of inviting me to do the Avengers episode.
that was, yeah.
I jumped when I got that text. I was like, let's fucking do this.
There were
Oh,
actually
my God.
a lot of people that wanted to jump on that, but
I imagine. That's why. Honestly, like if I'm being honest, I am really thankful.
oh no, yeah.
That was a really cool podcast, and that was a lot of fun for me to do.
I'm glad we brought you in because you were a great guest. Class act, contributed so much, and you were awesome to have on. So
Thank you, man.
I definitely don't regret the decision at all. And you're of course always welcome back for any movie of your choosing.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Speaking of your podcast, first let's give a shout out to Brian McCormick.
Yeah,
who had
big
done an
Bri.
episode with us a few months ago. Check that out.
Yeah, that one's great.
That is a great one.
Yes.
And just another quick plug. You guys just did an episode on Toy Story 4.
Boy.
Which I wanted to listen to so bad, but I was like, fuck, I just saw Toy Story 4. I'll wait till the podcast.
Yes.
So I want to jump right into it. I want to talk about Toy Story 4.
Let's talk about Toy Story 4.
Should we keep it spoiler free? What do you think?
This
is more your etiquette. So
what I realized about this movie, about Toy Story 4, my sister wanted to see it with us, but she didn't, and she asked what was it about, and she doesn't care about spoilers. So I told her, so it's about Bonnie, the little girl. She makes a new toy called Forky out of a spork, right? Mm-hmm. And then they go on a road trip, and Forky gets lost, and Woody has to find him. So that, if for anyone that hasn't seen the movie, that is a perfectly serviceable plot synopsis.
Yes.
But for anyone who has seen the movie, that barely scratches the surface. So the movie is so deep, I feel like we could have a good enough conversation without spoiling particulars. I think the trailers do what trailers always do nowadays, and they spoiled a lot for us. Mm-hmm. Like, we know that Bo Peep is in it. That's something that we didn't have to know going in.
that would have been a crazy surprise. That would have been a crazy surprise.
You want to know something that makes me sound like an idiot? Like, in theaters, since maybe October or like December, when the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer first came out, every time it plays in the movie theater, I've been closing my eyes, closing my ears, and people are looking at me like I'm an idiot because
I don't blame you.
Trailers spoil so much.
I don't blame you, dude.
You know?
All kinds of trailers.
Yeah.
Like,
the only things that haven't done spoil it, I think they're good with Avengers. Avengers, like,
they were very careful about that.
They go out of their way to like edit things so that you're not spoiling anything.
That's true. We knew nothing of the plot of Endgame before anyone went to see Endgame.
Oh, yeah.
We had no idea.
That in itself was amazing. Star Wars, I think, has been doing a better job at it of not spoiling things.
Yeah, we don't know much. They sprinkled in some
details. Sound bites.
Yes, exactly. But they don't let you know the how or the why.
Right. Or, like in what capacity, you know? But maybe, that's for the better, depending on how you feel about the more recent Star Wars movies.
Facts.
But yeah, Toy Story 4. I think this movie was probably the most unwarranted sequel that we'll have, in that Toy Story 3 wrapped it up so well, but it did such an amazing job of justifying itself.
That's true.
Nobody
left Toy Story 3 upset.
Right.
Like,
4,
artistically,
3 or 4.
emotionally.
3, yeah. Everyone was satisfied with this
Everyone left
ending.
that theater like, that was incredible. People started talking about the Toy Story trilogy with like The Godfather, Lord of the Rings, The Dark Knight.
It's one of the most consistent trilogies.
It's the greatest animated trilogy of all time.
Hands down.
I'll definitely go there.
Yeah. But I think honestly, as a trilogy, Godfather and Godfather 2, classic movies. No topping them. But as a trilogy, Godfather 3 falls off.
It falls
Toy Story
hard.
3 does not fall off.
Toy Story goes up.
Right.
Like, they
Right.
shoot up on the finale.
In every aspect, animation, story, character development, everything, Toy Story just keeps getting better
Plot
and better.
depth.
Yeah.
Plot depth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one thing about Toy Story 4 is that now you're dealing with these themes in toys that, most movies can't make people express these themes of abandonment, of mortality, of fatherhood.
Levels of consciousness.
Oh my God.
There's a conversation between Buzz and Woody about, probably towards the end of the first act, that's just, it's both hilarious and it's like, I don't even know. I'm not going to go so far as to say it was philosophical, but it was very meta.
Yeah.
It was very meta.
Yeah.
It's
very much like the question that we're all kind of asking, but it within the context of the film. It does make me question though, like, has Buzz just been a psychopath this whole time with no empathy or conscience?
Buzz has always been one step behind. Remember, part of the plot of the first movie was he didn't think he was a toy.
Right.
He had a full-on existential crisis.
Well, that's one issue that a lot of people have with the movie is that they feel like Buzz was very dumbed down. But
I wouldn't say dumbed down, maybe a little watered down, because here's something we say without spoiling too much. This is Woody's movie.
Yeah.
This is Woody's movie.
He's definitely the focus of this movie.
This is Woody's movie.
This movie makes Woody one of the most deep characters and fleshed out characters of cinematic history. I would go that far. I would go that far.
Partly because he got four movies.
Yeah.
But that doesn't take away from the fact of how well they did developing his character. It's funny, you saw him, how do I put this? You saw him doing how do I put it? I don't even know how to put it, but it's like the way he was behaving towards Bonnie and the way he was behaving towards Andy were, it's like he matured in many aspects towards that kind of relationship toward a child, but there were some aspects that he just couldn't let go, and it was a flaw of his.
And that's, exactly. They still, after all these movies, managed to make him so matured yet still flawed. Whereas you'll find in a lot of characters that get 4 movies attached to them, they end up losing character depth. So it's a double-edged sword.
Because usually they have to go back and make the same exact mistakes.
Right.
Or it's like, so that growth from episode 2 meant nothing because you made the same mistake.
Or they're brought back in a more minor role because the writers don't have anything left to do with them.
Yeah, the story's complete.
Right. I think... but
you know what? I don't like that because I don't think anyone's story is ever complete.
It doesn't have to be.
There's things can happen. Like if you want someone to change, if you want a character to change, you could start the film by making them go through something so profound and traumatizing
that it just starts them back in a new path.
Exactly.
The thing is, that takes balls, though.
That does take balls, and that's sometimes movie studios just want to play it safe and make the dollar.
Exactly. And fans will say, "Oh, you ruined my character." I think a great example of this is Thor. So Thor.
Yeah, we talked about this.
We talked about how Thor, he after 2 movies, if they were to keep making more movies and not changing a thing, it would have been stale as hell.
Yeah.
It already was stale.
Well, as I was going to say, the first 2 were already stale because Thor kind of just always was who he was.
He was who he was. And the first one, he had some conflict and he had to grow into his role.
But his dad took the hammer away.
Right.
Son, you can't play with your toys until you're mature.
Right. But then by Age of Ultron, there was nothing left for him. But it takes balls to cut his hair, to break his hammer, to, send him to a planet, to kill his father, all in one movie. That's a big shift, and it takes a really good writing to make that work. So that's why it doesn't happen as often. But Woody, in this situation, in Toy Story 4, that's another example of them taking risks, giving him new flaws, and really thinking about where he is in his life and what challenges he can do and what they can do to make him overcome that.
100% agree with you. I think that's a great analysis. It's no wonder you do what you do. just another reason to check out the Movie Mayhem podcast, by the way. But with that said, there's something I do want to say too. Is if you're thinking, if you're listening to this and you're thinking of going to Toy Story 4, to reconnect with your childhood or to reconnect with the characters from your childhood, this movie's not really going for that.
No,
the movie's not. There's a great scene between Forky and Woody when they're walking on the highway and he's carrying them.
Sure.
And they go through that whole conversation.
Yeah.
Where you get a really good bite of it. Mm-hmm. But then the movie goes back to do its own thing.
Yeah.
So this is a movie that's doing its own thing. The Toy Story trilogy can exist on its own. This really is kind of taking it in a different direction.
Yeah. It's almost like it's starting a new trilogy because it doesn't focus much at all on the characters we already know, like Rex, Mr. Piggybank, Mr. Potato Head, but it introduces a bunch of new characters that seem like they're going to be along for the ride.
I liked a lot
depending
of
on where
them.
we go. Yeah,
liked a lot of the new
Ducky
characters.
and Bunny, I have some reservations on that you can listen
Yeah,
to
they
our
fell
episode.
a little flat.
Yeah,
I thought they fell a little flat.
Duke Kaboom is a treasure.
Fuck yeah, Keanu Reeves, baby.
Yo, 2019, the year of Keanu Reeves.
This is the year of Keanu.
Holy hell.
Shout out to Cyberpunk 2077.
Yo.
Yeah.
He's on fire. He can do it. He's
He can
like
do it all.
treading so many different mediums too.
Mhm.
Like the live action, the animation, the video game. Like he's everywhere.
It's unstoppable. And the memes. Matrix memes are still in.
Still relevant.
Matrix memes are
Yep.
still in.
He did a rom-com on Netflix, where he played Keanu Reeves.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it's called like Always Be My Maybe or something like that.
Always be my man.
I think that's it. I think it's Always Be My Maybe, and he plays Keanu Reeves. I haven't seen it, but I hear he's very funny and meta in that one as well.
Kind of have to be if you're gonna play yourself, right?
Yeah, and then freaking Bill and Ted are coming back. So the dude is
Really?
You don't know?
Really?
Oh my God, you don't know?
I had no idea.
The Bill and Ted 3 is happening, right? Kid Cudi and the villain from Barry are the villains. And the movie is about Bill and Ted after having about 20, 30 years to make the song that saves the universe. You find out that they've procrastinated the whole thing and they broke up. And so this is it's called Bill and Ted Face the Music, where they have where they have to actually they're confronted with all the time that they wasted. And they're just like, no, now you have to actually make this song. And it is, I'm super excited for it.
Likewise, dude.
Yeah, because did you stay for all
amazed.
the end credits for Toy Story 4?
Did I stay? No.
You
What
didn't-
did I miss?
Oh my God, there were four
there-
after credits.
What?
Yes.
Wow, okay. That's going to be an after podcast discussion.
Oh, yeah, because that's big spoilers.
Oh!
That's big spoilers, and they're
Fuck!
very good. They're very
Fuck!
good. They're very good because it makes up. They did 4 after credits because if you notice, there wasn't a short in the beginning.
You're right.
Yeah, that's why. Because they did the after credits.
Son of a bitch.
They're very funny. Yeah, some hint towards sequel status, and others are
Well, there
very
were a
good.
lot of hints towards sequel status.
Yeah.
They're going to keep making Toy Story films. They're not done.
No, and at this point, after you end with 3 and still manage to pull off a banger, go for it. Make 5, make 6.
I'll say this, though. While I enjoyed Toy Story 4, I think it's either 3rd or 4th on my tier chart.
For Toy Stories?
For Toy Stories. I like the movie. I really like the movie.
What's your number 1?
Number 1's Toy Story 3.
Yeah.
Without question.
Same.
Number 2's Toy Story 1.
Okay.
It's just, maybe that's the nostalgia.
It could be.
Could be that it's just a little too close to my heart.
That's
I'm
fine.
willing to accept that
That's
bias.
fine, yeah.
And then I don't know. I'd have to watch Toy Story 4 more to find out if I like it more than Toy Story 2.
Toy Story 2 is the lost, the forgotten son of Toy Story. It's the middle
It
child
is.
of Toy Story.
I still think it's amazing.
Yeah.
I really like Toy Story 2.
I had the Toy Story 2 video game on PS 1.
Oh shit! Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, when
Holy
you're
fuck.
when you play Buzz and
Yeah,
you know,
his jetpack works and shit.
yeah,
you
have to fight Zurg in an elevator, and there's a level in the airport when you're with all the conveyor belts and stuff.
At the very end.
Yeah,
There's a lot of treasure hunting in that game.
Yeah,
Lots of treasure.
yeah, there's a lot to find. But yeah, that movie has a special place in my heart because of that. I would probably put Toy Story 1 at the bottom.
That's fair.
Because I feel like they keep improving. Toy Story 1 is a fantastic movie, but I feel like they just keep getting better. I'll probably put it 3, 4, 2, 1 right now. I'd have to watch 2 again.
2, 1? Fair.
I'd have to watch 2 again, but it could easily be 3, 2, 4, 1 or 3, 4, 2, 1. I'd probably put it that way. Yeah, and that's that says nothing bad about 1. Because 1 in itself is better than entire trilogies.
You know what was something I think they missed big time, though, in this film? This doesn't really spoil anything, but we never got a scene where Bonnie played with the toys. You know how when Andy...
in depth,
the cinematics.
Yeah.
You would see the toys...
He's swinging them around. And yeah.
Well, more than swinging around. Remember, I think... is it Toy Story Theater opens and they're in the desert... And then,
oh
and
yeah!
the giant
I
ham
see
is
what
coming.
you mean.
Yeah, they would do the super cinematic of the kid playing with the toy.
Yes.
It brings you into the kid's world. They didn't do that in this one.
They didn't do that at all.
Because
you're right.
But this is what we were saying before. This is Woody's movie.
Right.
That's the thing.
Right.
And so this movie really, honestly, played it riskier than I would have ever expected it to.
And that's what I'm saying. You have to after you
3,
wrap
you
up
have
so
to,
many
you're right.
characters. After 3, you have to. yeah, fantastic movie. You know what movie we watched that we didn't like at all?
What was
that
that?
a lot of people did?
What?
We're gonna put out the episode on Sunday. A Star Is Born.
A Star Is Born. Is that the Lady Gaga?
It's the Lady Gaga Bradley
movie?
Cooper one. And
I have not seen it.
a lot of people loved it.
Yeah, give it a little piece. Give you a little piece.
So, I don't know, if these are just couples that want to like live vicariously through couples they see in the movies doing doing coupley
Songs
shit.
and dances.
Yeah,
Perfectly
and
choreographed.
like riding on the back of his motorcycle, and they're touring it around the world and whatever. That's all fine, but I think, and the character, it's honestly like Bradley Cooper did an amazing job acting. Lady Gaga did an amazing job acting. They both did an amazing job singing. But the plot, if you watch it, the pacing is way off. There's a lot of things that, just plot-wise, this is very shaky. Like, it's not held together well. And it's the whole thing as a whole, I find. Have you ever seen a movie with a rock star that is sort of at the peak of his career, but he's like really big into alcohol and drugs, and he like kind of it starts affecting him in other parts of his life. Yeah, so that's what this movie is.
A rock star movie.
Yeah, have you ever seen a movie with a girl that's kind of thrown into a success in the music industry or any industry, but specifically the music industry, and throughout that she starts to like kind of lose what she has to fight between maintaining her authenticity and her manager, like, who's very pushy.
Success.
And watering down her music and changing her look. Like, yeah, that's this movie too. Like, I mean, A Star Is Born has been made 4 times.
That is a musician's story, though. Like,
yeah.
It's not necessarily a bad thing that we see that plot repeating itself. That is the musician's art.
And it hasn't changed. It hasn't changed in the industry. But if you watched Rocket Man with Elton John...
I did not see Rocket Man. I saw Bohemian Rhapsody. I didn't see Rocket Man.
So Rocket Man is, the same story because that is the arc. But there's a lot of things that artistically make it just a fresh experience. First of all, it's a musical, like tried and true. Yeah. Like awesome. It breaks it's surrealism. It's very surreal in the way that these musical acts are played, and that's something that even Bohemian Rhapsody I don't think did a good job on. Bohemian Rhapsody made you feel like you were in a concert.
Rhapsody, but I think Brian and I had this conversation. It did miss a few beats.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
And a lot of people, I realize that some people actually like Bohemian Rhapsody more than Rocket Man, and I think that's fine. I feel like as a movie and as a musical and as a character piece, Rocket Man is the better movie.
I'd have to check it out.
Yeah. So check it, because Taron Egerton nails it. He
plays Elton.
He plays Elton. He sings all his own music. Does and obviously does all his own acting, and
no CGI.
No CGI.
No CGI on Elton.
Some CGI, but he does all his own stunts.
Did they CGI his penis in the sex scene?
So
I bet you they did.
They probably did.
I bet you they did.
They probably did. But the sex scenes are also, they do not shy away from them. They definitely lean into the gay sex to the point
butt stuff.
Yeah, and what's funny is that people in our theater were like. And we were like...
Well, I mean, you don't walk into a theater expecting to see butt sex.
But you do... I feel like you should walk into an Elton John movie expecting to
Maybe you expect to see a makeout sesh or a passionate scene in the bed.
We don't see him.
But you don't expect the butt sex. I mean, those people are the same people who probably saw Freddie Mercury. Like, oh, no butt sex.
That's true.
Then you go to see Elton John. It's like, oh, shit, the butt sex.
And that's why I feel like Rocket Man is a more authentic movie.
Because of the butt sex?
Yeah, but it's not like you see him, like, spit into the hole and, like, throw it in. It's kind of plays out like any sex scene, just between two guys. It plays out as any other sex scene. So it's really not that, it's not like grotesque not that gay sex is grotesque, but it's not as jarring as you would expect. I think people they were hoping.
Was it tasteful?
Yeah, honestly, it was tasteful. Like, I think people like to enjoy Elton John's music, but ignore that he's gay. It's maybe his older audience that aren't as comfortable with like gay things.
Yes.
But this was kind of like a wake up call for them. Just like, oh shit, he's gay. Like like they didn't know.
My eyes.
Like, it's very easy to separate the man from the music, and this movie doesn't let you do that.
Did any parents take their kids to this movie?
Not in our theater, but I'm sure.
I mean, was it rated R?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so
they wanted to make it. They wanted to make it PG-13, and Elton John told them I didn't live a PG-13 life.
Boom.
Yeah. You can't make
Gangster.
I think that was really cool.
Gangster line.
Because you could have made probably a lot more money if it was rated PG-13.
Fuck yeah.
Usually you do.
Oh yeah.
But he was all about the authenticity. So I really enjoyed it. Yeah. But anyway, is there anything you want to talk about that's not movies? Because, I mean, I love talking about movies. I have a whole podcast about it. But
Fair enough. Well,
what's up?
Well, we could talk about a lot of things, man. I mean, my last podcast, we touched on E3. We touched on Amsterdam. I don't know if you've done either of those things.
No. I have not done E3. So I because of school and everything, and now with my job and everything, like, I really like video games. I love playing them, but I never get enough time to play them to become good at them.
That's completely fair.
You know what I mean? So I do it for fun, but like if I were to join a party with like maybe yourself, Andrew Parker, like Nick and their whole crew, I'd get obliterated. I'd drag them down. I wouldn't be able to keep up. And they'd be nice. They'd be like, "Oh, Matt, you gotta kill a." But like, I would be so bad.
You don't like that feeling of dead weight. It's just
exactly. I don't want to be dead weight, and so that's what slows me down a lot when it comes to games and stops me from staying up on it because I just don't have the time.
Well, because I'll level with you on this. I don't often play like competitive games, like online competitive games. Like I had a phase where I played Overwatch for like a year straight.
I loved Overwatch.
No regrets.
Yeah,
no regrets. Fantastic. But most of the games I get into are like one-player campaign games and like party games like Mario Party.
Yeah.
And,
like that's what I'm making the shift
towards.
towards.
CTR.
Oh,
which
cool!
Is so much fun.
I had that on PlayStation 1.
Bro, how amazing was that? Yo,
oh my god!
CTR or Mario Kart?
Well, Mario Kart's come a long way, but I've definitely played CTR first, and I love the characters. I mean, it's the same game, as far as like mechanics go.
It's very much the same game.
It's very much the same game.
It looks beautiful though.
Yeah. Oh, does the new one look great?
The new one looks beautiful.
Oh my god, amazing! That's the game I would jump back into in a heartbeat. But I'm starting to do the same thing. So like the last couple games I played, like Mortal Kombat or like Spider-Man or and games like that. And I just got the God of War, the PS4 God of War, and I'm gonna jump into that because these are games that I can kind of play at my own pace. If I'm trash, like I'm not letting anyone else down.
Exactly, only yourself.
Yeah.
And Kratos.
Yeah, and boy. So that's sort of where I stand on games. As far as Amsterdam, also, it seems like a great time. Would love to go, but I'm, kind of straight edge, so I wouldn't really take the most out of it. But that's
the thing, man, is like, I was there, and let's just say, primarily, the things we did not revolve around that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's like, biking through, do you like biking?
I can bike.
Because you can bike anywhere. You can bike it's the best way to get around. We biked for one day, and we got to parts of the city we would have never gotten to. We went outside the city on this like 3-hour bike trail.
Really?
Went around, got to see the whole city, went outside a little bit, went to the ports, brought us back around. That was incredible.
See, that seems really nice because the last place I went to was Bangkok.
Oh,
and
nice.
That's the kind of city where you definitely could not just take a bike and
it's a different kind of place.
It's a very different kind of place.
It's a different kind of place.
I really want to go to Europe at some point. I've never been, and just for it to be able to do those kind of that's interesting though, because usually when I hear about Amsterdam, I hear
it's a big party, and don't get me wrng, me and my girlfriend when we went, we partied, definitely partied. But the things that like we were excited for, the things we planned, that would like going to the Van Gogh Museum. Going to the Puss in Boot, which was a cat boat docked on the river.
Wow.
In the middle of the city, and they're just a bunch of friendly cats, and all the money goes towards feeding them, and they all live on the boat and they live happily. Man. So if you like animals, that's really
I love
cool.
Animals. I am
Anne
allergic.
Frank Museum was ridiculous.
The Frank Museum?
Anne Frank Museum.
Oh, Anne Frank
was amazing.
What kind of stuff was there?
Well, it's the Hideout.
Really?
That's where it was. It was in the Netherlands. It was in Amsterdam.
Shit.
And dude, I swear to God, I don't know if the trope came from here or they followed the trope, but the Hideout was behind a bookcase.
Wow.
It was in the city of Amsterdam, in a place of work. I think it was a warehouse. And the Hideout was behind the bookcase, and behind the bookcase was his whole living quarters.
So you think that's like authentic how that was? They didn't do that for
I don't know how they did it, man. I don't know how they did, because here's the thing: you had to crawl to get in. Not crawl, but you had to really like duck your head to get in.
To the point where like if it was intentional, they might have given you a little more headroom.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm sure that the trope came from that.
It must have, right?
It must have.
Because then you're just making it too obvious.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing, like there's so much I could say, but like the real thing is like, they almost made it. They needed to last another 6 months and the war would have ended.
Damn. That's
You know?
hard. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah, that's the first thing we did, and it really humbles you when you're in that place. It's like, hey, this isn't just a playground.
Yeah.
Like, there's history
And
here.
people-
like
yeah.
between Van Gogh to Anne Frank, like it's, and the people were so cool too, man. The people were cool. The food was out of this world, which you'll hear that
Really?
about
Amsterdam
Europe.
food?
Amsterdam food.
I don't
out
know
of this
anything
world.
about Amsterdam
Bro,
food.
here's the thing. Their specialty is brunch.
Oh my god,
Bro, you
dude.
go get some Dutch pancakes stuffed with bacon, egg, and cheese.
That sounds amazing.
Come back and tell me it wasn't worth it.
That sounds amazing.
Oh, dude, they'll stuff with whatever you want. Bananas, strawberries, syrup, and sugar. It doesn't matter. It's just what they do.
That sounds awesome.
Oh, dude, it was
But
so cool.
In general, though, don't get me started on brunch. I hate brunch.
You hate brunch?
I hate brunch.
Well, why? There's nothing wrong with brunch.
I get
so
shit
do you
for
hate
this
breakfast and lunch?
I love breakfast. I love lunch.
So how could you hate brunch?
Because-
you get to choose whichever one you want.
Brunch is just overpriced slices of avocado on bread and like bottomless
I don't
sangria.
know where you got lunch.
And, I feel like brunch is I feel like for me, in the brunch that I've experienced, it's nothing but pretentiousness, sangria, and fucking avocado on bread, and charging $30 for each of those things.
Who hurt you at brunch, Matt?
Who
hurt you at brunch?
You know what? That's the thing. Like that's always people.
No.
Always, I alienate so many people. That's why I'm saying it on your podcast and not mine.
Fair.
But I alienate so many people.
With your
But with my
anti-brunch
disdain
rhetoric.
for brunch, you want to go out for breakfast? Let's go. Eggs on me. Pancakes
So let
on
me
me.
ask you something.
Yeah.
If I hit you up at like 11 p.m., but 11 a.m., I was like, yo,
Right.
man, let's go grab some food. And we went to a diner.
Sure.
And you got pancakes,
Yeah.
but I got a chicken club. Are we assholes? Because
Not
now
at all.
it's technically a brunch table now.
Not at all. So it's got nothing to do with the timing. If you want to have a late breakfast or an early lunch or have both those at the same time, that's fine.
Okay, so
But
let me rephrase this.
Yeah.
Let me rephrase it. When I say that the Netherlands specialty is brunch,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is dinner is a crapshoot. Breakfast and lunch, this is what they do.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
It was awesome. Because dinner, honestly, it was funny because dinner, you just got to play like Planet Earth. Like, because you could go get Greek, you could go get Korean, you can go get Italian, you could go get Spanish. Like,
I love it.
It's just a. They have some Dutch dishes, but none of them really appealed to me.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I
I've
don't
eaten
think the
so
Dutch
much
are
that-
known for their cuisine.
Definitely not the dinner cuisine.
Yeah, not the dinner cuisine.
Not
sure.
knocking on it, but I can vouch for the Dutch pancakes. I can vouch for their cheese. Are you a cheese guy?
I just realized
Next
that
level.
I like cheese.
Next level.
Because again, it's sort of like the brunch deal where it's like I feel like I'll hang out with a bunch of friends and it's just a bunch of girls. There's like a bunch of different cheeses and wine, and they're just complaining about their day or talking about like a movie that they saw, or like they're talking about like a Real Housewives that they watched.
Okay.
And that like kind of turned me off to the whole like wine and cheese or like cheese deal. But then I tried some brie and I realized like,
brie
I love
cheese,
brie.
dude.
And then I
Oh
tried
my
a bunch of other
God.
cheeses like, I fuck with cheese heavy.
Cheese is the
You know?
shit.
And
Cheese is the shit, my dude.
That's what I'm saying.
I bought a whole fucking block of cheese to bring home, and I ate it the night before the flight.
Yeah.
I was like, I need this cheese, man.
I remember one time when I was kind of courting my girl, or like really we were getting to know each other.
There you go.
I just kind of went over to her place for I don't know, I think I was just picking something up for school, and she was like, oh, do you want to eat something? And we had a whole like log of goat cheese mixed with like blueberry and crackers,
Stop
and we
it,
ate the whole thing. And I didn't realize at the time how good it was. I thought we were just chilling. We were just, the fire was crackling, But now that I look back, I was like, yo, actually that goat cheese was bomb. Like, cheese is fire. Like, you were great. It was great to talk to you, but that goat cheese? Oh man, if you had brought like cheddar, I don't know if we would have worked out.
You still with this girl?
I am.
If you get married, you have to serve goat cheese at your wedding.
That's not a
You
bad
have to.
idea.
It's gotta be a goat cheese
That's
wedding.
not a bad idea at all. That's a great idea. I'd
Dude,
be all
goats are
over that.
funny. Part of me wants to own a goat one day.
So I would want to own a goat, but so my parents they came up from Trinidad,
Oh, wow,
and
cool.
and curry goat is like one of the
Wait,
greatest.
you like
meals-
goat cooked in curry?
Oh,
That does sound pretty
One of the
good.
greatest meals you'll ever eat, and then like to see a baby goat. And, it's going to be hard not to, kill it or use it for its milk and cheese and then kill it and eat it.
Well, let me ask you something. Like, if the goat died, like, 'cause I've really been considering this because I do eventually want to have a a good enough property where I can have like a couple chickens
Like a
and
little
maybe a
farm
goat.
going?
Yeah, just a little
Interesting.
just a little something.
Okay.
Nothing too crazy.
It's a lot of maintenance.
It's definitely a lot of maintenance. That's why I'm not trying to have like 50 chickens. I'm trying to have like 4.
Sure.
You know?
I think the steady egg supply alone makes that worth it.
Definitely.
You know?
Definitely.
'Cause I eat
that's
maybe
why
3-4 eggs a day.
That's why they say it's like a drug. It's like you start with 4 chickens, but then you realize you're getting all these eggs, and you end up with 30 chickens.
Yeah.
And you end up selling it to the town down the street. But you know what? Hopefully that's another conversation for another day.
Yeah.
But going back to the goats, it's like so goats and chickens. If I had goats and chickens, like when they died, like
Would you eat it?
I think I would.
Yeah,
you know why? Because what am I gonna do? I'm gonna bury it in the ground and let the bugs eat it?
Yeah. If it's
No,
already
I'm
dead.
gonna eat it, take a shit, and then the bugs can eat it off my shit. They're bugs. I'm human. I raised this goddamn goat. It had a good life. Now it will become a part of me and my family.
I think
Might
that's fair.
sound creepy, but I really don't think it is.
No, I think...
I actually think it's kind of spiritual.
The only thing is that like skinning things or like pulling feathers from a chicken,
Yeah, it's tough.
that's a grotesque thing to do.
That's definitely a grotesque thing
Yeah.
to do.
Although I feel like by the end of my residency, like I'll have seen so many like disgusting
You'll have
things.
seen some shit. You'll just
Yeah,
like,
I'm definitely
I
gonna
can
see some
skin
shit.
this chicken.
So like it might not be that bad at that point.
You know what? No, then maybe someone should invent the chicken skinner.
That's a thing?
I don't know. Someone should invent it. Just
Like-
a household
like you just-
item.
Like you throw the dead chicken in and then it comes out like just like a butterball like
It's
turkey.
ready to go, man.
It just comes out. I mean, I would love that.
Seasoned and everything.
But, you know, that's sort of the thing where it's like people have such a problem with us with like people like just buying like processed food and like the death
Well, there's a lot of
there's
there's a lot of inhumane treatment
A
towards
whole
the
lot.
animals you eat at
a
like
whole lot.
when you're buying fucking chicken from Walmart, you're eating a slave chicken.
Bro, I used
You
to
know?
call it the growth hormone special because like the breasts are bigger than like
GHS, yeah.
yeah, and it's like
Some big titties.
some big titties, and it's like chickens can't walk with these things on. You know that
No, yeah, you're right,
they were
you're right.
stuck and like they had no
They couldn't get up.
Yeah, and like they lived
That's
a terrible life and then they died.
But that's the thing. It's like it's not that like meat consumption is the problem. It's like meat integrity is the problem.
Yeah.
It's like if you go to like a Whole Foods or you go to a Trader Joe's or even your local Stop and Shop, you buy organic shit or like free range chickens, then we'll have more free range chickens. It's like I've always tried to tell people you vote with your dollar. Like fuck
That's true.
Fuck your vote.
That's very true.
Fuck your presidential vote. Fuck all those votes.
Yeah, it
you
doesn't
vote.
matter.
You vote with your dollar. You
Yeah.
want more free range chickens? Buy free range
free-range
eggs.
chickens.
Buy free range chickens. It's literally that simple.
It's very easy to be disheartened though, because
is,
you know
definitely.
you would see like 1,000 like GHS like and then like 1 or 2 rows of the
the
regular
organic
chicken.
stuff,
But
yeah.
the thing is, they're selling it. If they're
Yes.
selling it, it means people are buying it,
And it's got a
So
shot-
keep
it's got a shot to
going.
take
so
up
you
the aisle.
Still have a shot.
Yep.
Yeah. Same with like cage-free eggs and stuff like that.
I feel like cage-free eggs are bigger now. Like
Yeah.
I feel like I see more
They're
cage-free
definitely
eggs than
blowing
I
up.
don't. Yeah.
Because the price differential isn't as big than it is for like free-range chicken versus
Well, that's because they're blowing up the chickens for their meat. They're not
Yeah.
blowing them up for their eggs.
their eggs. Exactly.
Yeah.
It is hard though, because economically, like as a resident now, as a student before, it's just not feasible.
Yeah.
And my goal is to, I think at some point, become wealthy enough where I can make these decisions with my dollar. It's not like I don't want an Aston Martin. Like I don't want a big watch. I want to
I'm the
be
same
able
way,
to
man.
use
Yeah.
money to like buy things that I believe in. You know?
Yeah, no, 100%.
And not
Dude,
be
my
forced
materialism
into, like-
stops right there.
Yeah.
Like that's
My-
enough, believe me.
Let me show you right now. My material when I graduated from dental school, this was the big purchase
Oh,
I got.
baby.
The Spider-Man Chicago ones.
Okay,
They're not
for
even-
those of you listening, he's flashing these Nikes,
flashing
these Spider-Man Nikes.
These Spider-Man
The fuck-
Chicago. So they're based off of the Chicago ones, which is like maybe one of the rarest, most like prolific, expensive sneakers in existence. And because they're the shoes that Michael Jordan wore in Chicago, and the Jordan 1s, one of the first sneakers he ever wore. And they redesigned it when Into the Spider-Verse came out. Into the Spider-Verse is one of the, like it's up there with
I feel
Spider.
like such a shithead. I'm like on the I'm on
Have you
the
been
edge.
dragging your feet on watching Into the
I'm
Spider-Verse?
on the edge. I'm
Dude,
on the edge.
When I tell you, I have a hard time choosing between Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 2 and Into the Spider-Verse for the best Spider-Man movie.
You know what?
I'm
I'm
not
glad.
playing
You know
with
what? You know what? I could trust you because Spider-Man 2 is my number one too.
Spider-Man 2 is
Spider-Man 2
it
is
was
next
always my
level.
number one. No matter what, Spider-Man 2 is
I
always my
have
number
to
one.
reserve judgment though. I haven't seen any of the Tom Holland films. I've told
You
myself,
haven't seen Homecoming.
No, because
Okay.
I'll tell you where I'm at. My next game in my queue is Spider-Man for the PS4.
That
So I
is
told-
honestly, that's up there for best Spider-Man movie. God damn it!
Hell yes. So I told myself, I'm like, I'm gonna, because the way I do things, man, I am 2 feet in the water. I can't do it any other way. So I was like,
You can't half-ass it.
once I'm done, like, for example, I'm playing Kingdom Hearts for the 3rd fucking time.
Wow.
Yeah. So when that's over, I'm going into Spider-Man. I told myself I'm going to watch Homecoming, Into the Spider-Verse, and go see Far From
And
Home
see
in
Far From
theaters. Like
That's not a bad way to do it.
Live in the Spider-Man world for like a month and
you.
really experience it.
I got you. And all the while playing Spider-Man.
Spider-Man on the PS4, exactly.
That's a good way to go.
Like I want to be in that world.
The only thing I would say is just realize, like, you gotta really be able to compartmentalize that these are 3 different universes you're playing in right now. The Spider-Man, the PS4 universe is its own universe.
Yep.
It's and then the Into the Spider-Verse, that potentially is more than just what it is.
Well,
but
I heard there's the Noir Spider-Man.
Spider-Man Noir is in it. He's great.
I heard rumors he might get his own series.
Oh, I'd be all about that. Spider-Ham is great. John Mulaney plays him.
Spider-Ham?
Yeah. Are you familiar with Spider-Ham?
No.
So Spider-Ham is so Spider-Man's usually like it's Peter Parker who's a boy bitten by a spider. So
and then there's Miles Morales.
And then Miles Morales, another boy bitten by another spider.
Yep.
But Peter Porker is a spider that was bitten by a radioactive pig, and then he becomes a pig. And his story is that he kind of he convinces Aunt May, who's like has dementia and stuff, that she's always had a nephew. And like moves in with her and kind of like lives her life. And the whole thing is that he's like a hammy, like Looney Tunes style cartoon. Hammy is pun unintended. And he's kind of like a Saturday morning cartoon brought to life. And that's sort of the direction they go with him in the movie too. He's great comedic relief. John Mulaney has great comedic timing with him. But anyway, to get back to the original conversation was that as far as materialism goes, there's 3 things that I want to own. One were the original Chicago ones, but even those are more expensive than I would want to pay. So I settled, since I loved Into the Spider-Verse, I got the Spider-Man ones. Then, because it's the same design, there's just little different things about them. Like, you notice the little dots on them are Kirby dots, which in old comic books, they used to animate with Kirby dots, and they used to like kind of dot in colors to save on ink.
Do you think that's how Kirby got his name?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No, it might be. It might be because he really is just a dot, right?
Yeah.
It might be, but I have no idea.
Okay.
But because I know that the Kirby that's named after Jack Kirby, the animator.
Yes.
And they sort of bring that style into the Spider-Verse, into the movie, and then they bring that style onto the sneakers as well. And there's a few other things about it that are unique to Into the Spider-Verse and Spider-Man. But I got those. The second thing is I want a reasonably accurate replica of Cap's shield. And I want Michael Jackson Thriller jacket, the red jacket from Thriller.
You should wear all 3 of those things at once.
At once,
when your time has come,
yeah.
and you've completed your journey.
Yep,
that's a hero. You're gonna feel like a badass that day
like
when you're wearing all 3 of those.
Oh
Jesus!
That's gonna be. I'm not gonna know what else to do with my life at that point. That's gonna be what's gonna start my midlife crisis.
Fair enough.
Because I'm going to get these 3 things and be like, well,
that's when you start riding a motorcycle.
Yeah, that's when I get a Mustang.
Babe, I'm living on the edge.
Yeah, I'll be back in a few weeks.
I spent too much of my life on my ass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I got a motorcycle to take my ass on the go.
All this work, all this dentistry, what do I have to show for it? And, but yeah, so that as far as I want to make enough money so that I can buy things I believe in, not buy things that are just expensive, not expensive brands or like things of status, but things that I think are good causes and things that I think are
it's like we were saying before, to bring it back, you vote with your dollar.
You vote with your dollar. Exactly.
Wherever you're spending your money, that's who you're giving power to.
Because I think every politician's correct. Every politician's
100%,
bought.
100%.
Lobbyists and corporations that run the country. So
100%.
You need to influence them, right?
Yes. Tell them what you. Oh, I like you, man. You're a cool dude.
Thank you.
You're welcome. No, it's just like it's the fucking. So but
that's hard to do because it's designed so that people of middle class and lower, you have to buy what they tell you to buy because they control the market. They control the prices. So it's only people that with enough financial economic freedom that can really affect change. I know people like to say that anybody can do it, but I know by myself, if I have rent to pay, I have $500,000 in student loans. I have, so my tuition is still bugging. I got car payments, insurance payments, things are ridiculous. I know if I try to make these decisions now, if I try to buy free range now, try to buy cage free now, I'm not going to make it to the level where I can make decisions outside of what kind of chicken I buy. You know,
that's completely fair.
So I
do think though, to counter you a little bit, I think a consumer's dollar is more powerful today than it's ever been. Not the dollar itself, because they've been inflating that beyond. What I'm saying is the options you have. Like organic wasn't a thing 30 years ago.
That's true.
Organic was not a thing 30 years ago. Like indie markets, indie video games, not a thing.
That's
20
true.
years ago.
Yeah.
Now it is.
Music's another
good example.
Like nowadays, you don't have to be signed to a label in order to be successful.
Exactly.
It's a much harder path, but you have social media, you have SoundCloud, you have things like that.
Exactly.
And that social media that's used like in the best way, I think it's to like promote something that you believe in.
Yeah, and you got your smartphone now, so you could research up the wazoo to see who's fucking society in the ass and who isn't.
Yeah.
And if you got a good feeling that a company X isn't trying to fuck society in the ass, give them your fucking dollar.
Oh yeah.
That's what I would say.
At the same time, Nike makes some dope shit, and yet there's the amount of child labor that
slave labor
it's slave labor essentially.
That's a lot. That's a lot in Asia right now.
It's hard, and so but a lot of their shit's good quality, so it's hard. I personally stopped. I try not to wear as like name brands. I try not to like buy people like my girlfriend hates it, but I try not to buy out too much. I try not to do anything where I don't know where it's coming from. But it's hard because even things because they've caught on. A lot of companies have caught on. So like companies know like, oh, people want organic shit. So they don't think, well, let's make our shit organic because that's expensive. They think, well, let's find the best way to label our shit organic. So now you have to be careful because saying something's organic is not the same as saying it's USDA approved organic, which is not the same as saying it's 100% organic, And I use food as the easiest like kind of example, but this is for anything.
Yeah,
anything where
you
think you're making a socially conscious choice and really like they're fooling you anyway.
Well, this is what I'm saying. It's like you're 100% right. And it's like it's funny. It's like now that we have a smartphone and you can look into that to a certain degree.
That's true.
It's got to terrify you because it's like companies have been doing this from the beginning.
Yeah.
From the fucking beginning. Before companies, governments. And now they both do it.
Well, how do you think they got this powerful?
Exactly.
This is how they do it.
You know what it is, man? It's like, fuck. It's like, do you ever wonder sometimes? It's like, I guess we did, right? But no, I'm thinking in my own head. But did we have to go through all this shit to get to where we are?
It's tough because I think a lot of people say that that we've like regressed.
All this
as a
technology
society.
Came from war. That's what all of this came from.
Yeah. It's true. It's true.
It makes you wonder.
Innovation comes from conflict.
Well, because it becomes like a life or death things, right? Like the government hires like the best engineers and inventors. Is like, hey, if you don't invent it before those guys, we're going kaboom boom.
And then somebody's like, oh, I can
take a bunch of
this.
Adderall and just fucking. How do we do it?
Right.
Like,
right. Yeah. Exactly. You're exactly right. Like car technology, phone technology, computer technology, even video games. A lot of it is military tech. That's
NASA's been using VR for a while.
Yeah.
For a while.
And it's just somebody who gets the right in and is like, I can monetize this. And then that's how we get our technology.
Well, this is why fucking Tesla, Elon Musk, everything's getting subsidized.
Yeah.
Because the government's like, well, he's doing it better than us, and we need somebody on our side that's going to do it.
Right.
So they subsidize all his projects so he doesn't lose a penny.
Yeah, but,
Which historically hasn't gone well, because if there's no incentive to succeed,
that's
normally you don't.
That's what I'm saying.
So
now he's doing now he's trying to send us to Mars when he's not.
Well, he can do whatever he wants. It's not going to cost him $1.
Yeah.
But
it's not good for the action because the thing if it doesn't cost him $1, like you said, what are the stakes?
There's no more incentive
Tesla
to
can
succeed.
Go bankrupt. Where
this
everyone
is why
that
government
ordered Tesla
fucks
screwed.
everything.
Yeah, it's hard.
Fucks everything they put their dick into.
It's hard, but have you seen a society without government? It's hard.
No, you need government. That's the thing. Make no mistake, I'm not naive. You need government.
But there's always a line that they're crossing.
You want a smaller government. You want government that's
you want
not
a smaller
watching
government,
you.
But then there's a lot. This is like this is the struggle of society, right? This is like the main struggle of civilization is that you don't trust people to govern themselves because people disagree. So you set people in charge that'll make the decisions that is best for where the people are at now. But then those are the people that we set in charge are just men and women. And so they're easily influenced as well. And so this is the problem. But this is the problem with society. So you have to put in people that you trust. But when there's so many people when there's so many people, like our country is enormous. So that means that it takes more people to run it.
Well, this is why I'm all about like the federal. I firmly believe this. I don't think the federal government's irrelevant, not at all. But it needs to be smaller and less influential because
And leave more to the states.
What right does it like a senator or governor from Idaho have to influence how Minnesota governs themselves? Like, what right do all these other states, which like, if anyone's traveled around the country, like Georgia's a very different place than Oregon.
Yeah.
You know, California is a very different place than North Dakota. So it's like, what do people from there, what right do they have to tell them how to live?
Well, then the converse is that. Then what do you have something like gun laws? Like
Well, that's state. This is why I actually think your state government is probably your most important government. Because I think the federal government's designed so that nothing happens. So that nothing can really change. Obviously, there's ways around it. Like, someone can sign an executive order. But let's say, like, Trump signs an executive order. Whoever's in next has the power to just throw it away.
That's what happened with Obama.
Exactly.
Everything Obama did, Trump threw it away. And then
whoever's in next can do the same thing to Trump. And that's literally how the federal government is designed. So nothing fucking changes.
Because exactly.
So,
and
because
the things that are set in stone are things that it is so hard to repeal because you have to pretty much replace the entire Senate, the entire House of Representatives, to get any kind of real change going.
Exactly. I think people should focus on their states much more because those are the people who have direct power over you.
But to put on a tinfoil hat, I feel the reason
loyal to the foil.
That's the reason we don't hear about state government elections. That's
You're
the reason,
100% right.
Like every single news outlet will show the Democrat debate for president, but you don't know who your representatives are. They're Hollywood.
They're Hollywood, man, and people get so wrapped up in it. I'm like,
it's at a point where we have a reality show star as the president. So
exactly. Well, he was so compatible.
It is literally Hollywood.
He was so compatible with the simulation.
He fell right into the model.
Exactly.
Yeah, honestly, like he ran a great campaign.
They knew what they were doing.
Because
they very obviously knew what they were doing.
They recognized what the system they were in, and they got him right up there.
And they cornered the electoral college.
Yeah,
they cornered it.
But that's the thing. Like that's the like these aren't like people that are like. Now they're saying that the electoral, he didn't win the popular vote and stuff. It's like, everyone knew the rules were in state. Everyone knew the rules when they voted.
And this goes back to like what I was saying to you. It's like you can't do it by the popular vote because then California and New York are going to run the country.
Right.
What right do California and New York have to govern
Tennessee? Yeah.
So that's why you have the electoral college. So everyone,
it's true.
And that's the thing. The electoral college isn't completely unfair.
But then
California gets gets more electoral votes for their dense population.
It's true, but then you have things like gerrymandering.
Gerrymandering's a load of bullshit.
Right.
And this is what I mean. It's like the systems we have in place, they're not what's wrong. It's like they've been deviated or mutated. Like there's crony capitalism, there's gerrymandering. It's like where these are stemming from is not the problem. The problem are these little 1As or 1Bs that we're adding on to these systems.
Exactly. You can see the necessity for every system that we have.
Absolutely.
And then you can also see where they're taken awry. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, you know what? This is a good time. This is a good time to jump into Chip Gang.
Oh, okay.
While we're staying loyal to the foil. Let's
Sure
jump
thing.
into Chip Gang.
I know a lot of people that you've brought on are Chip Gang.
Yeah, it's surprising me how many people are Chip Gang.
The overwhelming majority, I think, are Chip Gang.
Right? There's more Chip Gang than not Chip Gang. The only difference is, I'd say they're split. The ones who say they are Chip Gang, they're split down the middle. One half says they would do the chip if it's purely medicinal. The other half said they would just do the chip full on in.
Full on, they'll take whatever Google wants from them.
They want to be the superhuman.
Gotcha.
Quote unquote.
Right. I think this debate has been had before. I think this is the same issue that people had when smartphones came out. Some people were like, I don't want this. Anyone can track me. Like my phone works fine. Why do I need why do I need a keyboard on it? Like this is senseless and it's superfluous. And others were like, this shit is the wave. This is the future. Yeah. I'm on this. Right. And you can drag your feet as much as you want, but I feel like eventually we wouldn't have a choice but to be Chip Gang. I don't think it's a choice. I think after time, because now you can't how much of a limited life you have to live without.
Well, that's the thing.
Without a smartphone.
The market will squeeze you out.
That's what I'm saying.
You lose all your market advantage.
It's not a choice. It's not really a choice. It's not a matter of when. It's if you jump in at the ground level or you wait till the chip is so dominant in the market that you don't have a choice. Your brain is no longer a market option.
So are you Chip Gang?
I'm not.
You're not. Here's the thing. I'm watching this whole thing, right? And this is something obviously I've thought about for a long time and think about a lot. Mostly because I'm fascinated. Because I actually think this is humanity's story.
Well, why don't you tell people what chip gang? I know you say it every episode.
Sure,
but
yeah, just
because
right,
I cut you off. I didn't let you actually explain it.
Yeah, it's a modification. It's basically taking the smartphone and putting it in your brain so that you could think your Google search. So like in 2 seconds, the Wikipedia article you needed, download it into your brain. All
information is at your disposal.
Absolutely. Take it even further. One day you can snap and you're in your own VR simulation playing Halo.
Yeah.
Like, next level shit.
It's Black Mirror shit.
Exactly. Black Mirror-esque, like, next level.
And then the downside is if internet is connected to your brain, that means Google knows what you're doing.
Google knows what you're thinking.
Like Verizon knows what you're doing. The government knows what you're doing.
I think that's not even like the problem, right?
Knows what you're thinking.
Knows what you're thinking. And that's thinking goes even further. It's like, what if they are what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Because they found out, they collected the data. They know how to manipulate you.
Yeah.
And they could just leave a trail of breadcrumbs that leads you to the Google phone.
Until you're living a simulation.
Exactly.
Your
the Matrix, bro.
Yeah.
Going back to Keanu.
You lose free will.
It's
amazing.
That's the thing. That's why I think I was on the fence when this started. I think I'm just not chip gang at all.
I'm not.
I just think because going back to what I was going to get to before, it's like when I zoom out, I actually think this is humanity's story. Because how did we beat the bears? How did we beat the lions? Technology.
It's not
maybe not computers, but we sharpened that stick and turned it into a spear.
Right.
We built
that's what
that
you're saying.
hut.
Technology comes from conflict.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it never stopped.
Yeah.
And maybe it never will stop, but it just keeps going. And it's like it started as something that we used to keep in a chest, right? You kept your technology in a chest. That was the spear, the axe, the building materials. You used to keep it in a chest. And then the next thing you knew, it was in your home, right? So the tables, the chairs, the technology kept building.
Right.
And then it was at your place of business. Now society started industrializing. Now it's your place of business. Now then it's in the streets. Now it's cars.
Yeah.
Now and then it's in your office. It's a computer.
It's in your pocket.
Then it's in your pocket.
Yeah.
It's just like it started from a fucking tree branch,
right.
And it's morphing itself into something that can fully integrate with. It's so wild that I trip myself out all the time thinking about it.
It
I
makes
wonder.
you think that we're reaching a critical mass, and then what if it's gonna keep going until we self-destruct, right? Because that's eventually what's gonna happen. You can't build a society based off of war and not expect us to fall apart. And we see the signs. We see what's going on with the environment. We see what's going on with other countries and stuff. We're going to kill ourselves, and then it just starts over. Maybe it won't. Maybe that's
here's
it.
The thing.
Or maybe it'll start over and then back to this prehistoric and keep going.
I'm with you that we are total danger to blow ourselves up.
What if that's already happened numerous times?
It may. I'm all about that because
Yeah.
I think it may have not necessarily like nuclear destruction,
whatever.
But just
it could be
there
an
was a
ice
time.
age. It could be a nuclear holocaust.
The human race at one point, archaeologists believe the human race was down to a core group of 1,000 survivors at one point.
That's what I'm saying.
Because some shit went down.
Exactly. Something happened.
That's why all the religious texts talk about the apocalypse because it's just a natural part of civilization.
That's what I'm saying.
Is
every story comes to an end.
Exactly.
Every movie has an ending, and then it has.
Well, at least every era, every eon, because that era of humanity was over, and those 1,000 rebuilt it back up,
right?
And it'll tear itself back down. But I don't know how this trend was in other civilizations when these build up and tear downs happen. But I'm a big fan of this guy Steven Pinker, so a lot of what I'm saying is going to be paraphrasing his research and his writings.
Okay.
But if you look at the data across the board, since the world has been westernizing, crime has plummeted. Human rights civilizations have plummeted.
Human rights civilizations?
Not human rights civilizations. Human rights violations.
Okay. Okay.
Have plummeted. And this is per capita, right? Because just to be clear, this is per capita because there's actually probably more slaves in China now than there were on the entire planet 200 years ago.
There's more people now than there were 200 years ago.
Exactly. So these stats all deal with the per capita, meaning like per person.
It accounts for inflation as far as people go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's just say all the negative behaviors are declining. And like we still have a world of problems, like take gun violence for example. Gun violence is a big problem. But the amount of gun homicides today are actually astronomically lower than 20, 30 years ago.
See, that's crazy because one, like there are a lot of narratives that wouldn't have you think that.
Of course not, because the narratives are really loud.
Yeah.
They're really loud, and now they're everywhere. The narrative isn't just the news when you get home.
Yeah.
The narrative is the radio in the car.
It's Facebook.
It's Facebook. It's Instagram.
It's Instagram.
You are the narrative.
Yeah.
You're inside of it. You used to be able to separate yourself. Now you can't. And the way we are, because like we're so survival based, right? Self-preservation is the biggest thing. So we're drawn to negative things more than we are positive things out of survival.
Oh, yeah.
So when you see some crazy fucked up shit going on in the world, you're glued to it because like your brain is telling you, hey, you should know this just in case it's about our survival.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Whereas if like, you know, like, oh, today like firefighters rescued like all these bunnies from...
Nobody wants to hear that shit.
Yeah, it's like, oh, good for them. Who's rescuing me? You know,
exactly.
Like, yeah.
Exactly.
For sure. I mean, it is wild to think. Like now, there, like I can, you know, just relating it to my job, like there's the amount of health disparities as far as like dental, like and oral health is ridiculous in the world. But even today, like I'm like even today I was just talking to one of my attendings, and the amount of like cavities in children have been reduced like maybe 75% just off of like 2 materials that people have that dentists have discovered or invented that are able to arrest cavities and before they get to the pulp of the tooth, that are able to replace the pulp of a tooth like after it happens, and then this is like before even stem cells get involved. But like dentistry, and it's
all about fucking stem cells. But go on.
I used to, so before dental school, I used to I'm a dentist, if you didn't know. Before dental school, I worked for this company called StemSave. And what they do is they, when you have like wisdom teeth extracted or baby teeth extracted, those teeth tend to have a lot of pluripotent like stem cells, and they're not like completely pluripotent, but meaning that they can't become any kind of tooth, but you can take those cells and they can become a lot of different parts of your body. They can become bone, they can become pancreatic cells,
because the coding is all in it.
Yes,
the data is all in the fucking in the stem cell.
Right. And so now like stem cell technology was actually progressing at an astronomical rate until the depression hit.
Until Bush.
Well, yeah, the recession, and then Bush cut the funding.
Exactly.
And so now they're it's like kind of had to start over. And we're starting to get to a point where, I say we as if I'm doing anything, but we're starting to get to a point.
You're part of us. You're part of the humans.
Where you can again like take stem cells. So what my company did was, once you extracted those teeth, you would kind of store them, and you would send them to a bank, and then you hold on to them for about 20 years. When stem cell technology catches up with what we want, say you need a cartilage replacement in your knee, you can use those stem cells to create autologous cartilage, because the problem with transplants and things like that is that your body can reject them.
Yep.
If they're your stem cells, your body is less likely to reject them. You can keep yourself young forever by just replacing the parts.
Yeah, because you could replace the telomeres.
Yeah, you get
that's what ages you, is the telomeres.
You can replace the telomeres. Wow, that's actually very good genetic. That telomeres is a deep cut as far as genetics goes.
Oh, thank you.
I'm very impressed. But you can you can replace the telomeres, because telomeres kind of
that's what ages you.
They kind of like get cut over time as when your genes reproduce, and that kind of stops your body from making more of a certain thing. And then so if you have diabetes, like you can create like more pancreatic cells, you create more insulin, you can combat diabetes that way.
Dude, have you heard about the STEM lab in Madagascar?
Yes. So my company, not my company, the company, but StemSafe works very closely with them, because South Africa,
they were doing a lot of autism tests. More. Yeah. And they were going really well.
Because you are you're able to, if you can take stem cells, rewrite the genes, or and then put them back in, you can start to reverse. I mean, that's the theory. Yeah. It is so far beyond anything that can be used clinically.
Exactly.
So far beyond, and that's why like all this is essentially a pipe dream at this point. But like South Africa, or Africa in general, is really where like people have chosen to take the first steps. And then when they find something good, that's when they'll start bringing it over and doing trials in animals, trials in America.
Gotcha. They need to get on it, man. Because
it's a slow process.
I watched the documentary on it.
Oh, did you?
There's like a 30-minute doc on YouTube I watched. It dealt a lot with that place in Madagascar, and I'm just amazed. I'm honestly just amazed, because when you hear people talk about it, and I don't know shit, right? I am medically illiterate.
You're a layman.
Exactly. I'm bro science.
Sure.
So but when I hear people talk about it, it sounds like it might be the answer to so many problems. Like, we don't know where to begin with autism, right?
Yeah, no.
But in Madagascar, they're like, well, we still don't quite know what autism is, but these stem cells are helping. We do know that. I don't know how much you know.
We know autism is specifically a gene, a genetic problem. We know that you have an extra chromosome, and that extra chromosome causes problems in your heart, in your development, in your pretty much your development. It causes problems in your development, and that leads to mental retardation, immunocompromisation, cardiac problems, liver problems.
And
problems
what's at
everywhere.
the stem of all of those? No pun intended again. But what's at the stem of all of those is inflammation. Yeah. That's what they found. They actually found that a lot of kids struggling with autism, they have a bunch of inflammation in their gut. So a lot of the way these people are reducing systems is cleaning up their diet, cleaning up their gut, so that the microbiome is healthier, and that's reducing the symptoms.
That's a big thing. A lot of diseases.
I think it all comes from the gut, dude.
People.
I'm starting to think it all comes from the gut.
There are a lot of people that, like, a lot of gastroenterologists that, they believe like all of your health problems come from your stomach.
Of all of your organs besides your brain, do you know what has the most neuron receptors?
It's your
gut.
Yeah, it's your gut. That's
you
true.
are what you eat.
I was about to tell you that. They say the gut is your second brain.
Yes.
They actually say that your gut can function like your intestines and everything, that your whole digestive system. That a large chunk of it functions independently of your brain, and we know this. We know that rest and digest, parasympathetic nerve pathways. We know that you digest. You don't have to think about what you're digesting, right?
Right.
You don't have to think about.
Well, that's why it takes 20 minutes after you eat to not be hungry anymore.
Right.
Even though you're stuffed.
Right, because that's supposed to be communicated back up. It's doing its own thing before it tells you.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's.
You ever think? Because like we just have these five senses, right?
Yeah.
And if you speak to a lot of scientists, and some people think this is new agey, but no, they can prove this. There's a lot going on around us that we can't sense at all.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like, so you see how like the stomach and the brain act independently of each other. It's like if you were looking through certain like frequencies or using different senses, is our stomach technically part of something different than our brain? Like, are we just kind of like a middle ground where the two meet?
There are other senses that our stomach can pick up that our brain just isn't getting?
Yeah, something like that, or different frequencies, right?
Different frequencies?
It's like like let's say you could see the entire plane, right?
Sure.
You would see something that like went through my stomach that my stomach was a part of.
Yeah.
And then you would see something that went through my brain that my brain was a part of, but they were two different things.
Sure, like completely different systems.
Because like if the two of them aren't communicating, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if the brain and the gut divorced and they just the lower intestine is the child. I don't know what's going on.
You'll find evolution has a lot to do with it, honestly. Where like where like our digestive system sort of evolved on its own. Wow. Yeah, and it's actually incredible. Really difficult to wrap your head around. But something that there's definitely a plethora of things that we just can't do as humans that are just going on around us in our planet. Magnetic resonance, magnetic resonance and stuff, that the planet's doing thermal resonance.
Energy. Can't see it.
One thing that it's so simple and stupid, but it puts it in perspective that I saw on Reddit. So the reason tigers are orange and with stripes?
Why?
It's because deer are colorblind to orange, and so deer see orange as green, and so tigers blend in with trees.
Oh my god, that's so fucking cool.
Yeah, and it's something that we see, and we're just like, since we can see orange, or that's the thing. It's not that we see orange; it's that we interpret those wavelengths as orange. We're not right, and the deer's not wrong.
You're right. You're 100% right.
Yeah, because then other animals, they don't see the colors that we see. They don't see as quote unquote well as we see, but their other senses can do things that we can't. That's why
their nose. We have a shitty
whistles, noses.
We have a terrible nose because we don't need it.
Exactly, we don't need it anymore, and that's just how evolution has taken us in different directions.
Yeah, we're very vision based.
Yeah, it's what always gets me is space is wild. Underwater, like the way that life must have evolved to survive. They're probably using if we were to take a creature from the deepest part of the earth and bring it up we would have no idea how this thing works.
Yeah, because it has to survive at such a dense gravity.
And it has to survive.
Honestly, it probably can't even survive above water.
No, it wouldn't make it a second.
Because if you go to the bottom of the ocean, you're just going to collapse in on yourself.
Yeah, the pressure
you let that
alone.
thing out, it'll probably just like turn into goo.
Yeah, it would evaporate or something.
Yeah, something crazy.
That's
why Aquaman's a cool hero, because like, there could be a whole other thing down there.
See, that's what I loved about the movie.
I didn't see it.
So
I heard good things though.
The movie is an episode of Dragon Ball Z brought to life.
I love DBZ, so this isn't a problem.
Yeah, the movie is so anime. It's wild. Like, even their fights, like, you're wondering how they're going to make underwater fights seem cool. They just turn them into Saiyans, and they're, like, flying and going at each other. Like, that's how they do it. It works really well.
Sick. You know, Warner Brothers is pretty good at that, because one thing I took away when I saw Man of Steel years ago, I was like, that's the best quote-unquote DBZ action I've ever seen in a film.
You could see the potential there.
Yeah, I was like, oh, shit, action scenes can get really fucking cool.
Yeah.
All right, you might have just convinced me I need to watch Aquaman.
To watch Aquaman?
But I got to do Spidey first.
Yeah. Focus on one hero at a time.
We're going to do Spidey. We're going to live in the Spideyverse.
Definitely do Spider-Verse and Spider-Man in general.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But we do need to wrap this up soon.
How deep are we?
We are an hour and 5 minutes deep, not counting intros, not counting ads, not counting. Yeah, we went hard, dude.
Wow. That flew.
Yeah, I was honestly kind of surprised. I looked over like 10 minutes ago, and I was like, what do you mean 55 minutes?
That's wild.
I feel like we were just talking about Toy Story.
Yeah.
Like 10 minutes ago. Like 10 minutes ago. And we just flew through the universe.
We talked about the most...
We went deep.
Tinfoil shit possible.
Loyal to the foil.
Yeah.
Question everything.
Yeah, honestly, we're going to listen back and be like, oh, we're way off. We sound like idiots. But that's funny. That's funny. Yeah, And this is shit that I never talk about, too.
Fair enough.
It's all shit that, like, I'll think about it in passing, like, while I'm waiting for my train to show up. But, like, I never talk about this in depth. And we just had a whole ass conversation.
Well, dude, you can come back here and talk about it anytime.
This
is one of my favorite podcasts. I'm being dead honest.
I don't want to be
really
your conspiracy guy. But, yeah, I really appreciate that.
You're not the conspiracy guy. We touched on conspiracy. And, like, I felt like what we said, none of it was untrue.
None of it's untrue.
About the government and shit.
I feel like it is kind of a bummer.
It's just hard to look at.
Yeah. It is.
It
is. That's why we have things like social media. As bad as we were talking about before we started shooting, how bad social media is for, like, and how it turns us passive, how it turns us
reactive not proactive.
Instead of proactive and all this stuff. But it's a distraction. The amount of times like, shit, I gotta study. Or shit, I gotta do this. Oh wow, this person did that on Instagram. Well, I should check out this on Instagram. And then I end up on Reddit, I end up in YouTube, whatever. But it just distracts you from. It's a really nice distraction, and maybe if this is what this podcast is for you, I'm very sorry because we ruined that in this episode. But yeah, I feel like we came off as maybe a bummer, and I'm sorry for that. Well,
we just crash landed.
Yeah,
we were laughing, we were having a great time, everything from telomeres to Chip Gang, and then we were just like, by the way, social media is just a vampire sucking your dopamine out of your soul.
Yeah, it's so hard to live without it though, because
there's a beauty, it's all yin and yang, right, man?
Yeah.
Like, it's all yin and yang because it connects us with one another, right? Like, me and my boys, we have a Facebook chat. Right. We punch into every once in a while to talk sports or some shit. And it's like, that's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah.
It's like, that's the targeted interactions I want. These are my boys.
Right.
This is the conversation I want to have. Beautiful. They're all over the island, and we're all doing it. But then you end up in your feed, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's just things being thrown at you that, like, do you really need to see that?
Not at all.
Do you really need that? Is it improving your life to see that?
Literally almost never. But
almost never.
I find that the more free time you have, the more you fall into that. And you always think like,
that's why it's such a fucking trap, because free time is so precious.
Yeah.
It's so precious.
The key is to not have free time. I've noticed now that I'm on call, now that I'm always like either studying or working or doing, or I'm in, like right now my life is I'm either studying, I'm working, I'm in the gym, or I'm on call, right? Those are the four things. If I can no longer justify looking at my feed for 30 minutes. But
hey, just don't have the time for it.
I just don't have the time for it. But because of that, now, like, do I miss it at all? Absolutely not. Like, my life is so much, it's busier and it's harder. That is one benefit, is that the less free time you have, the more you have to cut out the bullshit.
You're 100% right.
So
that's growing up, isn't it?
That is exactly
because
growing
that's
up.
bigger than social media. What you just said.
Yeah, it is. Like there's so many things that I used to like. I play this game on my phone, like Marvel Contest of Champions. It's like a fighting game with Marvel characters. It's a
tap fighter.
It's a tap fighter. It's so simple, but I would burn hours on it, and now I literally can't. I can maybe play for 5 minutes a day, and that's it. But all that means is that I'm doing things that I should be doing instead.
Yeah.
So now you have to prioritize. Are you going to spend the precious free time you have? That's the thing. The more free time you have, the less precious it is.
Yes.
So am I going to spend, now I have maybe an hour every day. Am I going to spend that on my phone, or am I going to spend that cooking? Am I going to spend that
100%?
With my family, with my girlfriend, with
cooking is such an investment.
Cooking is,
and I mean that in a good way.
Cooking is the
if you invest
best
in like cooking meals for yourself, you feel better instantly, man.
That's what's wild. Everyone's like, "Oh, I want to get in shape. I want to do this. I got to start hitting the gym." No, bro. You got to start
hit the kitchen.
You got to start cooking. You got to start sleeping.
Starts.
Those are you got to sleep. People don't sleep. And that's another thing. Now that I'm so busy, I'm like, if I don't get 8 hours, I'm not going to make it through my schedule. So now I have to
also,
take care
if you
of
work
myself.
out, you need the sleep too.
100%.
If you work out and sleep 5 hours, your body didn't have any time to grow.
I'm not going to recover.
Yeah.
And I feel that. I mostly do powerlifting, stuff for strength.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very taxing on your muscles, but it's also very taxing on your central nervous system.
Ah.
And that gets burnt out usually more quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And because the whole idea is that you need your central nervous system to recruit more of your muscle to execute these movements at a high level. So if I am not resting enough, it's not that my muscles won't go back. They might. If I eat my protein, yeah, they will. Mm-hmm. But it's that I'm not letting my nervous system rest. Now I won't be able to recruit these muscles anymore. Sleep is more important than anybody gives it credit for. Sleep is
well, clutch. I used to be a 6-hour guy. I used to tell myself, sleep 6 hours. I'm good. I could do 6 hours. I used to do it without coffee.
Now what?
I make sure to get 7.
What do you think about like sleep rhythms? Because I heard like
what do you mean by sleep rhythms?
Like circadian rhythms, like that your body works in 4-hour intervals as far as sleep goes, and so that's why sometimes people feel better after 4 hours of sleep than 6 hours of sleep.
Really?
Because you're woken up at the end of
I heard about the hour and a half intervals.
That could be something.
That every hour and a half is in it.
That could be. I haven't heard about that, but that could be.
I went crazy on sleep once when I was living in Charleston, South Carolina. I tried the Da Vinci sleep code.
Which one is that?
That's where you sleep. You sleep 20 minutes every 3 hours.
Yes. I had a friend that tried that too. I heard it doesn't work at all.
I actually bet it works. I just think the tutorial period is long. Because I did it for like a week.
Like the learning curve.
Yeah, exactly. Because I did it for like a week. And like that's the thing. Is like the first few days you actually feel good. But then those next like 4 days, you're just like... And then it becomes a thing you have to remember, right? Because here's the thing. You do have more time. You definitely do have more time when you do that.
Yeah, but the way society works, the way
society doesn't revolve around that sleep.
You don't get, what are the chances of you having 20 minutes every 3 hours?
Yeah.
Non-existent. And what are you going to do at night? Like this, I mean, you could like play games and then go to bed.
But I was doing a lot of writing and like music mixing and stuff.
Gotcha.
And that's what I was trying to get more.
Well, maybe it's great for that then. Like a bunch
it is. The problem is I had a day job that didn't cater to it.
Right.
So
right.
But I worked something out with them where I was allowed to take 2 breaks, so I would sleep like 30 minutes on the 2 breaks on days I had work. But it was a whole mess. But we do need to wrap it up. We need to wrap it up. Let's plug.
Sorry about that.
Plug yourself. Tell them where to find you. Let them know what to expect.
If you enjoyed the first 20 minutes of this podcast, Movie Mayhem Podcast is the podcast for you. The most dangerous podcast on Long Island. The most prolific podcast on Long Island. We have nothing but prolific guests, including your boy Landy right here. Movie Mayhem Podcast will tell you we're not the brunch of podcasts. You're not going to come in and find us talking about Oscar nominations and whatever. We just 2 bros that like movies, and we talk about them a lot. And we're able to make time to watch them and talk about them. So if you wanna talk about a certain movie, but you don't have a friend that's seen it, we've seen it. Come talk to us. You can hit us up on Twitter at Movie Mayhem Pod. You can hit us up on Instagram. Brian McCormick is an artist of the Instagram Photoshop. Your mind will be blown. This shit will be on posters in your room. It will be in museums. Movie Mayhem Podcast on Instagram. If you listen to a few episodes, honestly, the best thing you can do, listen to our Endgame review with Landy. That one's clutch, right? We just did, if you want to get woke as fuck, listen to When They See Us. That's the Netflix series on the Central Park 5. Mm-hmm. Oh my god. I got a lot of gamers who listen too. So if you want to listen to the Super Mario Brothers episode that they did with Andrew Parker, another guest of the Landy Lodge, highly recommend. The Super Mario Brothers podcast. That episode was hilarious. And we did an episode on Speed Racer with the other half of Bulldog Gaming with Brian Stelling. And he was really good. That was really good. I'll check that one out too. Because Speed Racer is, a very underrated movie. But anyway, Movie Mayhem Podcast. you won't be disappointed. You make it 5 minutes through that, it's going to become 50 and you're not even going to notice. It's going to get you through your commute. It's going to get you through your breakup. It's going to get you through your dog dying. It's going to get you through when you're cooking in the morning, when you're eating in the gym, when you're up late at night. This movie is sustenance for you. This will replace sleep and eating for you. You won't regret it. Movie Mayhem Podcast. Listen to a few episodes. Like it. Subscribe. Like this video. Like the Landy Lodge. This dude's been holding it down.
Let's do it.
A minute. I'm telling you, we don't plan. He doesn't plan anything. He comes in with people of all different walks of life, doing all different types of interested in all different things, and he can have a conversation with any of them. I can't have a conversation with people that I spend every single day with. And this guy he is so knowledgeable, so charismatic, so passionate in everything that he talks about and everything that he does, so authentic that if you can listen to a movie, you can listen to a podcast about a stranger. You're doing it right now if you've made it this far, and he will make it into something that you can learn something from, something that can interest you, something that can entertain you, and that's what podcasting's all about. So really, if you only have certain time and listen to 3 podcasts, listen to Bulldog, listen to Movie Mayhem, listen to the Landy Lodge, and if you like baseball, listen to Charging the Mound too. And
love it, baby. Round up these plugs. Yes.
Let me say it one more time because you wasn't listening the first time. Movie Mayhem Podcast. You're not gonna find, we're not like other podcasts because we don't like other podcasts. We're who we are, and if you like us, if you fuck with us, then fuck with us.
Baby, that's how you cut a promo. All right, Matt, thank you for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening and watching too.
With all its galaxies.
Of course, brother.
And forever and ever and ever, whatever it is beyond that. What you might call God in the Western tradition, or Brahman in Hindu philosophy, or Tao in Chinese. Every one of us is really that, but we are pretending we aren't. And we are pretending with tremendous skill and deception. Who are you?